Today, I will show you how to fly a plane in Microsoft Flight Simulator X. This game costs money, but it is definitely worth it. There are also other ways of getting this game, such as torrenting, but a bit more complex. Providing you already have the game, let's move on and open up the game. Bruce Williams said Flight Simulator includes several features that make it an excellent training aid. The only things you need for this game is the actual game, some dedication, a little bit of patience, and the ability to have a whole lot of fun. Now, you double click on the application and it should bring you to the home screen. It will take a little bit to load and you'll see what I'm seeing right now on the screen. Once it loads, you will see the home page. At the home page, there are many things you can do. Firstly, we will go ahead and choose the aircraft that we will fly with today. For the simplicity of this presentation, we will choose the Boeing 737, which in my opinion is one of the simplest aircrafts to fly in FSX. Next, you can choose any starting location you want, any time of the day, and then you can click the Save button. What I will be showing you now is the flight planner. For the purpose of the presentation today, I'll be flying from JFK to Boston. You can fly from wherever you want to wherever you want, but make sure you choose IFR, which is Instrument Flight Rule. You then go ahead and press Create Route. It will then ask you for your cruising altitude. You can put whatever you want. Today I'll be putting 15,000 feet. You then hit Save. We then go ahead and click Fly Now and walk into the world of aviation from a much different perspective. As a side note, Jim Shoutsky stated, even after having gotten my license, I still use Microsoft Flight Simulator X for some practice. When the game loads up, the flight will be on the runway. The engines will be off, so the first thing you want to do is press the Control and the E button simultaneously to start the engines. To request the ATC for clearance and to communicate with the air traffic controller, you press the tilde button. That will open up the dialogue between all the flights, including yourself and the ATC. We now will click Tune to Kennedy Clearance and then request IFR clearance. You can tune to whatever airport's clearance center you are at. You can watch and follow along as I do on the screen. You have to acknowledge the clearance as well, and you just push the button 2 to do that. We are now going to set up the autopilot, which is the most important part in the takeoff process. We will set the speed to 250 knots, which is around the speed you want to set the plane to for takeoff. You also want to go ahead and turn on the auto throttle switch. You can increase the speed by dragging the cursor over the right-hand side of the knob and pressing down. Similarly, you can decrease it by dragging the cursor over to the left-hand side and pressing down. Next, we will set the altitude. When you asked for clearance, the ATC told you to what altitude you should climb to initially, and that is what we will set the autopilot for. The ATC cleared us to 9,000 feet, so that is what we are going to climb to. We also have to set the vertical speed to 1,800 feet per minute, which is the control to the right of the altitude. We are now going to prepare the cabin for takeoff. We press Shift plus 5, which will open up the panel. We then press the button L, which will turn on all the lights, and then we also have to go ahead and press the no smoking sign and the seatbelt sign to turn those lights on as well. We now open up the ATC dialog again and ask for clearance to take off. Once we are cleared to take off, we push the F4 button, which puts the plane to full speed. We then patiently wait till we hit about 140 to 150 knots, and then we can go ahead and press Z, which will turn on autopilot. If you fail to hit Z, which turns on autopilot on time, then the plane can stall and crash. Otherwise, we keep climbing and then we press G to bring the gear up. You have now learned how to successfully take off a plane in FSX. Congrats and happy flying!